We do dare.
Oh my God.
That's who we love and that's who we serve, ladies and gentlemen. You're on InfiniteGenFM.com.
It's running out. Hi, everybody. This is the Godfather, Soul James Brown. I tell you, this business is on. My man is on. Check him out. This is the Godfather, Soul James Brown saying stay with it and hit it. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. I don't know where. Okay, I don't know where we are. I'm hitting the camera, ladies and gentlemen. If I'm not on camera, I don't know what to tell you. It's just it is
Yeah, and
what it
ladies and
is.
gentlemen, if I am on camera, I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I changed the title of the show a little bit because somehow I don't know how I did it. I came across this thing about Beyonce.
Okay.
And so I had to add that to the thing because it's almost like, okay, the first time around they say, okay, we need to, okay, President Johnson, who now the Democrats are black people and minorities, they're running to the Democratic Party. He's now gonna save the pregnant women. Forget the daddies at the door with the shotguns, telling the boys, if you're gonna get her pregnant, son, you're gonna have to be responsible and get a job and take care of her and that baby, right? So President Johnson says, kick that out and let's do something else. Okay, so that's one. Well, anyway, I went too much into the topic. Anyway, that's one topic. Then Democrats putting their foot in their mouth again and showing who they really are. Jill Biden comparing Hispanics to tacos. Yum yum.
Nom nom. I love tacos, especially on Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. Well, it was Taco Wednesday, but that was Taco Tuesday, right?
Well, it was Taco Tuesday when the story broke yesterday.
Yeah, and and then of course, the guy installed in the White House now, giving our oil away, millions and millions of oil away to China.
Well, he's a kind and loving soul that has nothing but the best interest of the globalist narrative and the globalist countries in mind. And so, therefore, stay with us, folks. We're going to talk about this and a lot more. We cover topics like this every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to kind of keep people abreast of current events. We do throw in our own anecdotal fun stuff in there as well. We do like to express our opinions and exercise that First Amendment right of free speech. At least that's what we try to do anyway.
Yes, and also remember we have a new show coming up next week from six to nine, sometimes six to seven, sometimes 6 to 8. But for the main part, it's going to be from 6 to 9. With our and I talked to him last night. A great young person. So don't remember his name right now, but I'll post it on Facebook and do all that kind of stuff to let you guys know what it is. Then also, I'm running for House District 5. I was at the Tea Party, not the Tea Party. What was I at? What was it called? The Tea Party? The Arapaho Tea Party? I don't know. It was something called the Arapaho Tea Party. Maybe it was a Arapaho Tea Party last night. And I was telling my wife, I went to the Republican meet up on Thursday. It was run by Brenda and Ron, and kind of like unorganized. People just talking to each other. There was supposed to be speeches and stuff like that. People, candidates and stuff like that, and it was a low attendance. Then I went to this one. Oh, let me tell you what the Democrats are doing, and they did it with Donald Trump too. But they tried to do it on a lower level too. So he did a Facebook thing so he can get an account of how many chairs are set up for the meeting, right?
Sure.
So somebody who on the left got in there and scarfed up 19 free tickets.
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay, And Randy didn't see it until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He was going to go on the radio station and say, "Hey, people, there's still tickets available." Right?
Uh, so they went
So
ahead, scarfed up those tickets, leaving empty seats.
yeah, well, and it was a packed house, regardless of that. I mean, it
Wow.
was it was like probably 30, 40 people there. I mean, it was pretty full, but we're missing 19 people that could have been there, which would have brought the number up to like 60 or more. You know?
Well, and that's an interesting tactic to use to go ahead and uh, target ticketed events like this, then and going ahead and signing up and reserving a seat, and then not showing up. It
Hmm.
definitely does skew the numbers. It's an old tactic, but it is brilliant. I
You
do
know,
have to admire it.
sometimes I wonder if and I know when they passed the hat around for donation. $5 is not too much, and so if
Right,
somebody's going to do that, let them pay.
right, absolutely.
Uh,
Um, it's definitely something that needs to be looked at. Um, there's a difference between a free event, a non-paid event, and something that asks for a donation, I guess, as it were.
mhm.
Uh, the idea being, just as you say, that people will be less reticent to try to scarf up seats at a event and skew the numbers in the way that that has been done. This isn't a new tactic, but it is something to watch for on both sides. We got to be fair. I would
Yeah.
imagine this happened on the Republican side as well. It's not a new tactic, and we're all human. We
Yeah.
we're not perfect, and
Yeah.
I'll be the first to admit that.
Yeah. And he's a busy man. He has this law firm and then the radio show and all that kind of stuff. And so I can see how, unless you got more than one person, watching that stuff, these things could happen. And then you look around and say, "Oh shoot," And then it was pretty. And then Heidi Goodell, she was there last night. Who's running for governor of Colorado,
Yeah,
and man, we're really working on the ground game, and the Democrats are really, because they have no good policy. All, ladies and gentlemen, all the policies of the Democrats are there to kill, steal, and destroy.
that's right, folks.
Yes.
Kind of like the adversary, the ancient
Yeah.
serpent of old, the one that we call Satan.
Yeah, and we're not fighting a fight against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities and uh, darkness.
Oh yeah,
And so it's a spiritual fight. So, ladies and gentlemen, like the spiritual eyes of these people have been closed. Don't get mad at the person. Get mad at the enemy behind the person
that's
who's
absolutely
causing this blindness. So, love your neighbors, love your enemies, but realize that there are forces working uh, in this world that go beyond the physical eye.
I was explaining that very thing to a to a relative, a dear relative of mine, yesterday. The most recent topic of Roe v. Wade came up, and I was trying to explain to this dear relative that if they believe a certain way, that's fine and whatnot, but that type of stuff, that activity is legal here in Colorado,
Hmm.
and it just kicks it back to the states. This relative of mine understood that, but in my mind, only in my mind, this relative was irrationally angry. I mean,
Yeah.
would not listen to reason, and I had to remind this relative that if the decision is to go ahead and um, take a take an unborn life,
Mm,
that's fine. But it's not
wow.
fine with everybody, and
No. No.
we definitely need to
Yeah.
really take everybody's thoughts and opinions into account. But more than that, we need to look at that unborn child who does not even have thoughts or opinions on the subject.
And it's really weird how if we go back to those old times where people used to sacrifice a baby to the gods. Let's sacrifice the baby to the gods. so we can have good
I
weather.
mean, I don't know about that one. Good morning, everybody. I don't know. I don't know about that one, but I will say, in all seriousness, about abortion, it's a big deal in our state. It's big in Texas, and there was a thing set up at a restaurant, and they were talking about abortions and stuff, and these protesters showed up. But it's like, at the end of the day, people on both sides about this issue are heated because, you have so many kids in foster care too, and
Right.
a system that has let down those kids. So it's like, people want the choice to have abortions, especially people who live in poverty, that they shouldn't be bringing kids into this world, but also laying down with somebody is a decision and a choice. Now, I'm not talking about somebody if you're raped or something like that. I'm only
Yeah.
speaking of
Exactly.
people. That's a choice.
Yeah.
And so I don't think abortion should be used as birth control. That is
Yeah.
my opinion.
We all have to make better decisions in our lives, and look, get your one night stand on, but strap it or pill it, or do both.
Do something. Do something, bro.
One
Just
final
do-
thing on this particular subject that really caught
I'm
my attention.
sorry.
I don't know whether our benevolent overlords at YouTube will let this fly or not, but I look at it this way: you donate a kidney to somebody you don't know.
Yeah.
So they're happy. They get a kidney. They get to enjoy life as you got to enjoy life, and they get to recover from whatever ailments that took place with regard to the shutting down of both of their kidneys, resulting
Right.
in them needing a transplant. Well, what happens if you give this kidney to a person you don't know, and you're making their lives better? You're lifting them up out of sickness or whatever.
Right.
Well, what happens if you decide, well, I want that kidney back? So you go and you take that kidney back, no matter how it's. Let's just pretend you take that kidney back,
Right.
and you go ahead and reattach everything, and everything's good. You got both your kidneys back, everything's good, except the person that you took that one kidney from, the one that you donated it to, now has no kidney, and let's just say that there's no chance of dialysis. Now, I'll tell you what's going to happen is that person is going to die. There is zero difference between that and an unborn child. There is no difference,
Wow.
except that the difference being that we term that fetus as a fetus or a clump of cells, and we do not look at it as a heartbeat, as a baby, as a preborn citizen of our United States. And that's just all it is simply that. You're taking a kidney back from being able to donate, and that's really all it boils down to.
Yeah. Hey, I like to.
I gave my child up for adoption. I think
Right.
adoption,
Right.
if you can do it, is a good option too.
Absolutely.
If you can do it.
And we need to change some of those laws to make it not so as expensive. You want to get it in a good home, but $20,000 and all that kind of stuff, all the
That's
charges
crazy.
they do, all the red tape, we need to cut that down to, well, maybe $5,000 or something like that, where more people can
I don't
participate
think
in
you
this.
should have to pay. I think the government should step in and say, hey, since abortion has been this, we need to step in and have adoption to zero. This way, people do not have to pay money. Just like when you drop your kids off at the fire station, they're not saying, hey, give me $30,000 and then we'll take your kid. What the government approach is, which can work for adoption. We bring those prices down. We make it a safe place and fund that place. And that's what the government can do. The Gladney Center of Adoption is one of the largest examples of that. They do not charge people to use their services. I went through them. So for people to sit here and say, I can't give my child up for adoption, that is also not true. There are many places where you can safely drop your kid off and sign paperwork saying you do not want your kid. So there are a lot of options where you do not have to pay to do that.
See, I'm kind of agree, because I really think that limited government is the way to go. I think that government is instituted among individuals to promote life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, peace, domestic tranquility,
Okay.
Beyond that, perhaps, if there has to be a standing army,
Right.
to protect to protect the nation, so be
Okay.
it. I'm not necessarily in favor of a standing army either, but if there has to
Oh.
be one, certainly they should be there to protect the nation and to help out. Other than that, I'm
Yeah.
including Social Security, including food
Okay.
stamps, including all these things. I really don't know that the federal government or any government of, any nation
Or
should
bureaucrats.
be expected to provide everything, whether it be this program, that
Wow.
program, and the other program. I do understand the need for them. But as far as a governing entity being the big daddy or the big mommy or the big non-gender specific individual, let's just be inclusive. We don't want
Yeah.
theoretically an entity being the parental figure for us.
Yeah. Hey, I got to say something about our sponsors.
Okay.
Okay, our sponsors, Christian Brothers Moving Company. They're all over the United States, especially here in Inglewood, Colorado. Then I think in Phoenix, and then I think they have the operation in Texas as well. And then also Dr. Richard Damiano, corneal consultants. He did a lot of like successful corneals, and I just kept going in, man. And I had other things going on where the corneal failed, and I would get my vision back and had 20 over 30 vision and had fun,
Wow.
and,
Okay.
and had fun
Wow.
with that. But he did some pretty good jobs with that. And then Denver Foundation, and then I haven't got the name of the other organization that donated to us yet because it was a busy night. I was telling Alan before he got here, Ashton, I went to a Arapahoe Tea Party meeting last night, and a Democrat got into the system, and it's free to go, but he just needs to know the number, and they
Right.
snatched up 19 tickets, and so
Well.
out of the 40 people that there, we could have had 19 more people. But the host didn't find out until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then it wasn't too late to let people know that, hey, somebody hacked into our service. And I was telling Alan maybe they should charge $5, so at least you get the donation for those 19
Right.
people.
Get something. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Wow.
But anyway, it was kind of interesting. But we had a great meeting. I got up and spoke at the meeting last night as I was heading out the
cool.
door, and some good people. Now let's get in. Let's see. I want to get into first. Okay, Biden is he's giving away 5 billion gallons of our oil to China, and supposedly China is our adversary. So I'm not sure why he's not giving that oil away to us, we the people.
It's interesting because I've noticed that gas has been steadily dropping nationwide for about the last 20 days. Coincidentally,
Me too. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. Wow.
coincidentally, it falls in line with Joe Biden being discovered as sending our strategic oil reserves over to other countries, including China. And so, the idea of record corporate profits in the fossil fuel industry, as well as other corporate profits being at record highs, it's definitely interesting. I mean, the rich are really getting richer, whereas the poor appear to be getting poorer. Nothing new there, except our entire world economy stands to be at risk of global collapse because of world issues like supply chain shortages.
How is that? But how's that our fault in America? I mean, America has to get back to making stuff in this country. I was talking to somebody who is older than me. He's 90 years old. 90.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah. That's wild.
He's 90. And he said, we need to get back to what we did. And America needs to make everything that we can, including computer chips and what we call critical infrastructure needs. America got to get back to doing that.
Did you hear about the car dealerships? They make the bodies, but they have to go beg China to get the chips and the what are those other things called that people are stealing from the cars? Have to
Catalytic converters.
yeah,
Catalytic
kind of
converters
yeah,
and stuff. Yeah.
yeah. So they're trying to bring that back here instead of depending on a country that pretty much hates us and wants to see our
They
downfall.
should. IBM is talking about putting billions of dollars into a factory out here in a small town. Texas has the land. This is what the governor out here is proposing. He wants to make way and clear land for one of the largest projects ever built in Texas because they want to ensure the security of the microchip. And IBM and some of the first companies in America invented that. So why not make it and bring it back here to America?
Yeah.
Here's a
Now,
good reason for a lot of this is the rare earth minerals that are needed to mine for the construction of computer chips, not just the silicon, because that's pretty common, but some of the other rare earth minerals that go into these technologies are only in certain countries. China
Oh
has
man.
pretty much 98% of all the rare earth minerals locked down through deals that they've brokered with other countries, including Pakistan, Afghanistan, things like this, allegedly. Allegedly.
Why
I
can't we
definitely want
broker
to-
deals with Africa? Africa and India have minerals, but I don't really see us
because China got
brokering
in there.
deals.
China got in there before we are. They went in there with one deal. They said, "We'll build an airport, and we'll charge you so much." And then they built the airport, and then Africa said, "Well, we can't pay for it." So now they didn't hire any Africans. They just used Chinese people to do that. And now Africa owes China all this money. So they're pretty sly. They're getting in there. They say, well, hey, we'll help you, but we only hire our people, not your people. We won't teach you how to do this. And then they have that big bill over them. And then it's pretty sneaky.
It's like apartheid. It's like apartheid, and that's why a friend of mine who is in Africa has talked about that, and that's why there's been many protests over there because the black people over there see that they don't like black people. That's why I would never go
Oh,
to
yeah.
China. They
Oh,
hate us.
did you
and
know
they do
that-
not want us?
Did you see they were teaching these black kids, how to speak Chinese, but then they gave them the phrase about how stupid and ugly and all that kind of, and they had them repeating this, and then they got caught teaching these black kids to say negative things about themselves in China.
So they're
That's
basically
crazy.
they're telling these kids, okay, this means one thing,
Wow.
when in
Yeah.
fact it means I'm stupid, I'm ugly, I'm this, I'm that.
Oh man,
Dude,
That's
that's
not funny at all.
crazy. And that happened to black people. This is what's
Yes.
sad about that. It's like the brainwashing of African or minority people. And that's why organizations like the Black Achievement Fund exist to
Right.
put a stop to this stuff. It's unreal.
yeah. So it's like
Unacceptable.
when you think a country, it's a cheap, no, a wolf wearing sheep clothing. Yeah. So anyway, so and then also
Right.
let's get speaking of mindsets, Jill Biden calling Hispanics tacos.
I wanted to look into that because
What do you mean? He called somebody a taco?
No. Jill, Biden's wife.
Oh.
She was at a Republican meeting with Elizabeth, and I forgot her last name.
Cheney?
Huh?
Was it Liz Cheney or no?
No. Okay, let me get to
Wow.
my notes.
Tacos. What?
Okay, let me get to my notes.
I didn't, while you're looking for that, I was just going to say, I didn't read into that. It doesn't matter to me one way or the other that people throw stones at other people and call each other names. What does matter to me is the fact that we resist that. We stand up to that. And we basically tell them, well, we're not that. You can throw your sticks. You can throw your stones. Fine. They might even break my bones. But the names, they're not going to stick to me. It's fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
just keep it moving. Don't let somebody, put you down in this life, no matter who you are, famous or not. People are always going to talk about you. Go ahead.
Her name is Elizabeth Castro Gray, and she's the state chair for the Republican National Hispanic Assembly. So
Okay.
Joe Biden was in front of this group, and and I guess she she was thinking of some metaphors, and she started this metaphor about she thought of like the Hispanic people being tacos.
I'll have
And
to read up more into that. I mean,
No,
just because
wow.
she called somebody a taco, would that be offensive? Well, if I were called a cracker,
Uh,
you know, I might
food.
laugh.
Oh
I might
no.
laugh. I might say ha 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 and just move on. But you know, that's given on the mood that I'm in too,
yeah,
because I
Right,
might
and you
not
don't.
either.
You can get away with some of that, but like I told somebody one thing, you'll never get away with is calling somebody the N word. I had to tell this
Right,
white lady that. I said,
exactly.
no, man, we don't get called food. We don't get called tacos, right? Black
yeah,
people get called some of the most heinous things on the planet, and it's absolutely horrible that the Chinese hate us. I told somebody, what's up with China? Why is it that they hate us? What have we done as a black people for China to hate us? Like I saw something in China, they did not want black people eating in this restaurant. Well, in Africa, they ran them out. They're starting to run the Chinese off their continent because they see what they're doing. And they're saying, look, we don't want your airports, we don't want your stuff because you're not teaching our people how to operate these places. And that's what I see in Africa, that they force these black people to do labor to build these airports, but you don't teach them how to operate them. That's what I don't like about what the Chinese are doing and building these islands. Guess who's building them? Black people and other people are made to do this because they bust labor in there, fly it in and make them build these islands that extend out into the sea. And the reason that the Chinese want to do this is because if they put land in the sea, they own it. So America has to protect the straits. America has to be there so that China cannot own the straits. We
Yeah.
have to do that.
Now,
We're
also,
gonna get
Hillary Clinton made the same mistake when she went on the Breakfast Club and she poured out of
Okay.
her purse a bottle of chili sauce to say she was down with the black people because she has chili sauce in her purse. So you can check that on Breakfast Club. Just put in Breakfast Club Hillary Clinton. You can see that show.
You're
And,
kidding, right?
No, you can check it out. It's like
I'm gonna check it out.
it's on the Breakfast Club, and it's like, come on, what?
Before we move on, is we're not, you know, talking about the general people of China. We're not talking about the
No,
China.
no, we're talking
We're
about
talking about the government.
We're
Sorry,
talking about
the
the
government. Sorry.
government. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So don't
Yes.
get it crooked, you guys, you criminals who
Yeah,
like to
don't get
walk
mad. We're talking
No.
about the government operations in China, not the actual people who live there.
No, or the criminals who walk up to people and bump them in the head just for fun. You criminals, stand down.
Right?
Shoot,
Oh,
stand
man.
down. Okay. Hey, let's talk about Beyonce.
Okay.
Okay.
Beyonce. Well, she has a new because yesterday we were talking about like summer songs that are hits. And I guess and I listened to it. I played it. I went to see what this summer song was about.
Can we
but it-
play it here? Oh, okay.
Well-
I would love it.
Thing is,
Well,
get copyright laws and all kinds of stuff in line.
Oh,
before we
okay.
can play. So we'd have to actually solicit her, and she would want to charge us a bunch of money to go ahead and play
To
her
play
song.
a song? Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And the song is called "Break My Soul," and
Okay.
I heard it. I mean, you know, it's an interesting beat and stuff like that. And I think it has little John on the saying, "Oh yeah, something like that at the beginning.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
so it was interesting, and a lot of people, 47 million people did. Well, okay, first we were
Wow.
shut down, and then people said, "Well, I sort of like working at home," and then
Right.
people, 47 million people said, "I'm not gonna go back to the office. We're gonna negotiate this. I like doing remote, and they didn't like being around, I guess, their fellow office workers. I like that working in a radio station, being around other creative people."
Absolutely.
Right.
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 So that I don't know that I've worked at home and I like being in the office kind of atmosphere.
It's good to be
Yeah.
around people. Like I told somebody when everybody opened up around her, I was just happy to gather and be with people. That may be threatened with the fact of this new variant. I told somebody, what are we doing? Everybody thought it was over with. Three of my friends have COVID and they were fully vaccinated, and they're very upset because they let their guard down and now they may have to work from home and now they hate it. So, what can we do to get our hands around this COVID crisis or whatever they want to call it, or
Well,
made up crime? I don't know.
I guess one thing we can do is okay, people, sometimes people, I guess, you work a job and you don't really like it, and then
Right.
you get a chance to find yourself, and this has happened many times in our century where you get a
Right.
chance to find yourself. But I think it's an opportunity for the employee to um, take charge of their life, and not be
Right.
under like the employees saying you got to do this, you got to do this, and even though you hate it, you're going to do this. So
Right.
I think it's empowering people, but don't let it go so far where the government says, "Hey, we'll give you $24,000, but we'll you have to do what we want you to do, and if we want you to sit at home and do nothing, that's what you'll do." Because sometimes this governments will get in there and decide that they want you to, as they're going towards the socialist thing, have nothing, own nothing, and be happy. And a man and woman, we have to work to, because it makes us proud that we're doing something.
Right. Who wants to sit around the house all day? That's another thing. The government is creating what I call a depressionary mindset, because you want people to sit in the house and bend at your will. That becomes totalitarian and kind of controlling. I think the government in some ways can just pull up a little bit and allow adults to make their choices medically for their body, whether that be vaccinations, whether that be abortions. My thought is a lot of this stuff should be privatized to let the public. It's kind of like if
Let
you're
the
in
market
basketball.
decide.
Let the market, yeah, it's like basketball players. Let the market deviate and decide how to make it work. But instead, when you have the government really doesn't allow for much capitulation, because the government is based on heavy rules and a bunch of red tape, whereas the market is based on the dollar and some of the red tape that goes with that. I would rather see the privatized market take over a lot of this stuff. That includes maybe food stamps, health care, but it can be monitored and regulated
Airport.
by the government.
Airport too, because
Yes, all that.
yeah.
Hey, privatize the airports. Here is why. Because I told somebody, if you privatize the airports, you can bring all of the airports up the standard. You can start to put better quality stuff in there where the airports are more opened up and they look like shopping malls instead of this gigantic municipal building. That's what the airports in America look
Yeah.
like. They look
And
like
prices-
giant municipal buildings.
Yeah, and prices will go down because they'll be competing with each other.
Right.
Prices will go down.
Right.
But anyway, hey,
Right.
I thank you guys. We had a very good
This
conversation.
is fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna have a 4-day or 5-day weekend. I don't know. How many days are we gonna have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 days.
Wow.
Yeah, 4-day weekend, and we'll be back next week to continue more conversation. And if you have any ideas of topics, info@innovationfm.com, and of course, I want you, Ashton, to give your book name and all that kind of stuff.
We're having a 4-day weekend, another holiday. That'd be nice. But in all seriousness, my book is called Swimming Upstream to Realize the Dream. You folks can get that, Swimming Upstream to Realize the Dream, Walmart and Amazon. You folks can also go to the link, meetAshtonSmith.com, meetAshtonSmith.com today, and you'll find out more about me. Google Ashton Smith Special Olympics to find out more about my story. Love you folks.
And don't forget to share the show, and paypal.me/innovation Denver if you want to make a donation to support our show as well. So God bless you guys. See you